Save 33% when you buy Chakra Nova today. Promo code Chakra33.
Like, what is being pressed down? try. Piece to the collective. Trying to get this together. I don't like that little white finger majigger. Let me get this down too. Oh, that's for later. What's up? What's going on? What's going on? As you can see, we in the forbidden kingdom of magic mushrooms. So please have your thinking caps on and your mind open as we begin to fill some holes, as we just, do a podcast. It's the Hood Mystic, Mama Mystic with me on this ride. And that's exactly what it is, a ride. So be sure to have your seatbelts on. It's a lot. But let me see what it's looking like. So I'm gonna really just try to explain some shit, man, because it just do be seeming like in a world full of confusion, that's kind of my niche. To not be so damn confusing and make some shit make sense in a world where things don't usually make sense. Shit be confusing, shit be like weird all the time, Give me a second. Hope we live. I think we live. I just won't be able to. Oh, you can see this. I can see the screen on yours. You got your phone charged and everything. All right. Cool. So, we're talking about neurogenesis. The key word that I want us to focus on is Genesis, because in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and that's in the book of Genesis. Okay? Following me so far? Am I jumping off a ledge? Do I sound crazy yet? But as human beings, we talking about a neuro, so brain, genesis. So brain beginning is the process by which new neurons are formed in the brain. Neurogenesis is crucial when an embryo is developing, but also continues, this is very important, also continues in certain brain regions after birth and throughout our lifespan. So it's normal for us, and this is a part one, I'm just setting the table, but it's normal for adults to have neurogenesis, or new neurons formed in the brain. One of the keys of neurogenesis is like a play on words. You can only get new things if it's coming from an old source. So we really talking about adult neurogenesis, and the lack thereof, adult neurogenesis, and essentially what it looks like. So bring this over. Neurogenesis confirmed in a recent study. Hold up. I'm gonna just read it if y'all can't see it. 1 dose of psilocybin, and this is the thing. My wife was talking about this yesterday. You don't need to take psilocybin every single day. It's really about taking it one time. Even the studies, they be like 1 dose of psilocybin means a lot. However, this is just a study, and I'm gonna read deeper on it, and I'm gonna just bring it back to neurogenesis. 1 dose of psilocybin, a psychoactive compound found in magic mushrooms, increases dendritic spike density within 24 hours. So, as our life constantly watches our life go down and things get worse and worse and worse because we losing more and more connections in our brain, you do have a situation where magic is in play, where you can reduce those effects. And this is not my words. I didn't type none of this. Okay? I didn't type none of this. I've done no tests or nothing. I'm just an observer, and this is the shit that I'm studying, and this is the shit that I'm bringing forth to y'all on the late night edition. Welcome to the fucking rabbit hole. The neurobiological changes lasted for a month. So one dose of psilocybin can last up to a month, but over up to a year. It's some studies done. Go a little further. The psychedelic drug psilocybin, a naturally occurring compound found in some mushrooms, has been studied as a potential treatment for depression for years. So let's highlight this, right? Because black people, we know what to do in reference to being depressed. Let's not fake it out. We can be the most brilliant depressed people. We can be the most beautiful depressed people. We can be the most fortunate depressed people you ever done seen in your whole entire life. But what if I told you that's a natural result from the loosening of synapses and neurons just from wear and tear? We're going to dive a little deeper into it though. But exactly how it works in the brain and how long beneficial results might last is still unclear. In a new study, Yale researchers showed that a single dose of psilocybin given to mice prompted an immediate and long-lasting increase in connections between neurons. Previous laboratory experiments have shown promise that psilocybin as well as ketamine can decrease depression. But I wanted to dive a little deeper into why that might even be happening, right? So I just started with just depression and what might happen during depression. Like, what is the result of depression? And I found out that chronic stress and depression are associated with the reductions of both glutamate and GABA functioning, which including the atrophy, meaning that if we don't utilize our brain functions, then they atrophy and we reduce those neurons, and that depletion of neurons and functions is what we call stress, is what we call depression or chronic depression, right? So it's all scientific and all chemical, but you might resort it to having a bad day or stubbing your toe or some existential reason why you feeling the way you feel, when really it's psychological and medical, and you have no solution, you have no cure. So for most of us, right, we listening to people spit that hot consciousness in our ear, but when it comes to your own personal stress, your own personal depression, how are you reversing your neurons, right? At a scientific level, because listening to these niggas talking is not helping you for real, like you think it's helping you. Reading these niggas' books is not helping you for real, like you think it's helping you. You're gonna have to engage in the energy of God. But let's read a little deeper. Psilocybin alters brain levels of the neurotransmitters glutamate, and this could explain why users experience ego dissolution. Recent therapeutic trials of classic psychedelic drugs such as psilocybin from magic mushrooms or LSD have reported benefits to well-being, depression, and anxiety. It does not say listening to the latest hot garbage lecture, signing up to my Patreon, getting a reading is going to benefit your well-being, depression, and anxiety. 10 times out of 10, if you ain't willing to do the work, ain't nothing going to help your ass. And that's the reality. The crystals, the lights, all of that shit. You can have your period A1, your diet A1, right? But these are all human things. And then when people tell us to do things, we just like rats in a fucking hamster wheel, just wasting our time. But when it comes to our well-being, our depression, and our anxiety, those things are not getting solved because the ego is still running the show. So the thing about psilocybin, which I'll explain, is that it tears down the ego, which is your block. The person that you think you are is your block. Imagine whoever you think you is and your reasoning for doing whatever you is or not doing. That's why you fucked up. Because you can't remove that aspect, your beliefs about yourself, about your life, about your future, about your relationship, about your finances, when all of that shit is bullshit, really. These effects seem to be linked to a sense of ego dissolution, a dissolving of the subjective boundaries between the self and the wider world. You don't know who the fuck you is, man. I'ma just tell you straight like this. In this sentence that I just said, like, you think you know what you need to do or what you ain't supposed to do. You think it's your baby daddy, but you are a cog in the wheel of the world. Period. You are the world. When you reference the earth, they talking about your ass. But you can't get into the flow because you either too special or not special enough. And you haven't microdose sufficiently. When I'm saying microdose, every month y'all motherfuckers take communion in the Christian church. Ain't that microdosing? I'm not ready for that conversation though. What I'm saying is that the Christians is more advanced than conscious niggas because at least they doing the communion once a month. Conscious niggas don't even fast. Conscious niggas do whatever they want to do. But if I'm going to church every month, at least I'm doing the communion. However, the neurochemistry behind this effect has been unclear. Right? Let's get into some clarity. Alright, so the title of this video, let me look back on the screen, let's see how people is feeling. Throw some pictures up here. Talking about the title of this video. Ooh, that's too big. The title of this video is The Forbidden Fruit. And with these videos over these next weeks, I'm gonna look through the Bible and I'm gonna just try to get proved wrong that they not talking about mushrooms. Because from chapter 1, verse 1, I'm pretty sure that they talking exactly about mushrooms. In the Adam and Eve story, pretty sure they talking about mushrooms. But I'm gonna keep going. And then hopefully we'll get back to a point where God is some abstract term that we can't identify correctly and things like that. But I'm to the point where I've done figured something out and I realized something, and I'm just going to just try to bring it forth. So, all right, bring up the other screen. So the forbidden fruit. If you know any mycologists, when they be like talking about shrooms, they call them fruit. They be like the fruit this, the fruit that, the fruit that. And then I'm like, the Bible start off with forbidden fruit, so I'm gonna just like figure out, is that a connection? So let's do this. While mushrooms aren't technically a fruit, they are actually closer to a fruit than a vegetable. The mushrooms that we know and love are actually a tiny part of the much larger living growing part of the mushroom called the mycelium that grows under the ground or in logs. So, in understanding the mycelium, that's the underground railroad or the underground network. What you see as a mushroom is called the fruit. Man does not live on bread alone. I don't know why I said that. I just thought that was gonna be cool. It wasn't. Anyways, let's deal with the beginning. This is really interesting to me. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now the earth was formless, empty darkness, and was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." So It was fungi that made life possible on a barren planet. Huh? Did y'all know that? Like, did y'all realize that? I didn't realize that it was fungi that made life possible on this planet. They ate rocks, which made soil that allowed plants to colonize land, that changed the climate, sparking the evolution of animals. It was fungi that inherited the world after the last mass extinction event and brought life back on Earth. Damn. So, it makes you read this a little different, right? At least me, personally. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And God said, let there be light. And God saw that the light was good. And God said, da-da-da-da-da. So, the fungi, I'm not going to dive deep into it, but you could do this. YouTube, if you want a fuller expoundation on how fungi created the world, you want to do Joe Rogan and George Stamets. That's crazy. It don't even pop up. Huh? It's Paul Stamets. Oh, that's why. Oh, it's Paul Stamets. Okay. Yeah, so yeah. Watch this on YouTube. 9.6 million views. So you can't say Kyrie on here making stuff up. Lid is always on some shit where he just be saying shit out his no. We just late to the party. Okay? That's all it is. Then this is funny. Then God said, let the land produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants and trees on the land that bear fruit with seed in it, according to their various kinds. And it was so. That ain't talking about nothing but mushrooms terraforming the planet. It was fungi that inherited the world after the last mass extinction and brought life back on Earth. That changed climate, sparking the evolution of animals. Like when you look at a field, that field had trees and all types of shit there. But the reason that it's a field is because the fungi done ate up all the trees and demolished and evaporated all the trees. That's where you get a field from. And the field then allows the deer to come graze and create the like boo-boo on the ground or whatever, and then allow for more growth. And the reason why humans are important because we can translate the message of the fungi by eating it. And it's two ways that you see eating as a major thing. You see it in Adam and Eve, and you also see it with the Last Supper, right? Flesh of my flesh, blood of my blood. Shout out to DMX, right? So let's talk about this. I'm not about to I'm just skimming, because if I was to get too deep, it'd just be sounding real crazy. And I don't need to sound crazy. I just need you to use your common sense, as opposed to thinking that they ain't talking about shit. But imagine that they talking about something specific, something real. And when you talk about the world that you live in, there is a God, there is an intelligence, there is a consciousness, and you could deal in that consciousness, or you can stay outside of the consciousness and be confused and scratch your head and follow the crowd, right? And this is what Genesis chapter 3 is talking about, neurogenesis. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Jehovah God had made. And he has said unto the woman, yea, have God said, ye shall not eat any of the tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, of the fruit of the trees of the garden we may eat, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, ye shall not eat of it. Neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. Now growing up, And like you would be playing, well, I grew up in Ohio, and they say don't eat the mushrooms outside, right? Or you would die, right? Or you would get real sick. Don't ever eat the mushrooms, right? Don't that make sense? Why I would say that? Ain't you weren't you told that as a little kid? Don't eat the mushrooms outside. You're gonna get real sick. And so you would just walk past mushrooms all the time, and not saying that you should eat them, but you can get the message of what they're actually talking about. And the serpent said unto the woman, you should not surely die, for God doth not know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as of God, knowing good and evil. This is what I'm talking about. And trust me, I'm not saying that people should just do shrooms and your life is going to be better. But I'm saying that I know like I have a spiritual foundation, and I could take this information in coordination with microdosing to know good and evil, to understand the separation between knowing the truth and being ignorant, and also living an individual life that's connected, but not connected to people who want to talk shit all day, or not connected to people that's on mumbo jumbo, but just because I don't know, like, I'm talking about actually knowing God and knowing the difference between real and fake. And it's all laid out in front of you, like all of the information that I laid out in front of you. I have not typed one word. I never wrote the book. I just read it, and part of my channel is to just display the shit for y'all, so y'all don't be in the dark. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was a delight to the eyes, and the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof. Because we know that fruit is mushrooms. That's what they call mushrooms, fruit. They don't have to call it fruit, but they did, and did eat. So look, it was a delight to the eyes, mean like when you take mushrooms, you start tripping balls. Like that's what it means. It's a delight to the eyes. Good for food. You could use mushrooms literally for food, right? Some people eat mushrooms with their dinner, mushrooms on their pizza, okay? And that the tree was to be desired to make one wise. Now, this is a double entendre about sex, because the serpent is basically the sexual energy leading you to the mushrooms. So it's certain things that's going to take place. Your finances is going to increase. Your love life is going to increase. You're going to have the situations that you want. But they're like, well, all I got to do is take mushrooms would be the first response. But you still got to have a spiritual foundation, because like, even though I'm revealing this information, I'm telling y'all after years and years and years of work. And I'm saying that even though I'm telling you, I can tell you this, and you could do a million mushrooms and be dumb as a box of rocks, right? You still have to do the work. It's not an easy way out. I'm just telling you that the Bible is talking about mushrooms. That's all I'm trying to say. And your understanding of why that's the case is your own breakthroughs, right? And the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together. So this right here, sew fig leaves together, is another understanding of mushrooms, because mushrooms can be sewed and unraveled and weaved together, almost like cloth, and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Jehovah God walking in the garden in the cool of day, and the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Jehovah God amongst the trees of the garden, so forth and so on. So, this is just a part one, right? It's a lot of shit that I can talk about. I could talk about Santa Claus. I could talk about Odin. I could talk about all the Easter Bunny. I mean, every holiday is connected to psychedelic fertility rites. It's power in removing the ego and making love with an intention. But if you can't remove the ego, it's like a block. And then a lot of times we deal with people out of our anxiety, out of our depression, out of our sadness, and we not really even able to dive deep with people because it's not even a positive situation, right? It's not of God, it's not spiritual, you know. But yeah, we're gonna talk about some different stuff today. Follow me on Instagram, man, at the Hood Mystic. I'm gonna be doing this more often. I want to hear y'all questions, man. But we got 3 questions. Me and Mama Mystic about to answer them, and we about to like get some deep insight from both of us, and then we're gonna end this video. But there's a lot of people out there, young people, who never had no chat line, never had instant messenger, never went to a school dance, never went to a teen club. They whole dating have been pornography and dating apps, and they not realistic when it comes to dating. Like, so a normal man or a normal woman trying to date and make something real, how would you do that? Like how would you talk to your sister, and I'll talk to my brother proverbially about dating in the digital age?
I would advise her more so than to date, especially at a young age.
Why not?
Because what are you really dating for? Like,
To get married.
yeah, I mean, like, but at a young age though, like at 19, 20, you're looking to get married at 19, 20. No, I know from a woman's perspective, yeah.
I mean,
But
from a man's perspective, I want to marry the girl who got the less mileage.
So you'd want to marry, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If you like talk to girls, I mean dudes rather, like I was talking to my barber. This is the last dude that I talked to about something like this. He was like, the reason that I married, he was talking to her cousin. He was like, the reason that I married your cousin was because I ain't know nobody that fuck with her. You know what I'm saying? So that means a lot, you know. If dudes start coming out the woodworks, like, that's your girl? You sure that's your girl? Like, that don't feel good. So I think to secure, I mean, it sucks to try to get into your relationship when you old. Like, that's the worst part about it. When everything is past you and you're trying to start a relationship.
I think the age like we like started got into each other. Beginning when I was in you were in your early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like a real good age because if you go to college, you're most likely out of college. You're most likely establishing yourself like in your career and whatnot. Especially from maybe like a man's view, like being provided. But yeah, just being a provider from a man's perspective, like waiting until you get older. Like I'm glad that I didn't get into a relationship while I was young.
You do.
Yeah. I know for a fact I wasn't mentally ready nor mentally mature enough to take care of a family and what that really meant.
I mean, but you can figure that out once you get, like, did you have to get older to figure that out though? Like,
No, as time went on and experience, I figured it out.
yeah, I mean, I guess there's no real right answer, but it is hard for young people to date. And like, so yeah, young men shouldn't get married, but young women should
Save themselves.
seek to deal with older men or deal with men who, like, a 21-year-old dating a 21-year-old, that's just more like puppy love type shit. Like, whatever, it ain't gonna really be about too much of nothing. Like a 30s old, like a 35, 36-year-old with a 25 or 24-year-old, the dynamics, it worked because that older man recognizes the value of that woman. The younger dude,
He's not gonna understand the
he
value.
don't give a shit. Like, you just a girl, you know. But a man who, say for instance, I'm 36 and I've been dating 32-year-olds, 33-year-olds, 34-year-olds, and every time I'm dating, they just like, when is we gonna get married? I'm just looking for a husband. Like, is you my husband? I'm like, you know, middle finger, whatever. Like, you're not about to use me to get married just because you want to get married all of a sudden. That's why I don't think women should wait till they get older to get married, because y'all want to get married.
Because you done did everything, so now the last thing to do is
fuck
get married.
Like, that's whack and backwards. Get married when you at your peak and give that to your husband. Don't give it to Tyrone. Don't give it to Pookie and then feel like, well, I done had my fun, let me get married. That's not good advice for your marriage. It's good advice for you and Pookie's ass, right? But your husband who going to do everything for you. So
it's like, I think one thing that I would say is, especially for young ladies, is like, if you are dating to marry, make sure that the man you're speaking with, dating, courting, is on the same page, and don't find yourself alone with him, because when you alone, you always end up so that kind of ruins the notion of a pure, I don't know, it's like you don't leave anything left, like there's nothing left.
Yeah, and your pussy ain't going to keep a man. So don't think like you giving, like you like going to trap him into some shit. Like, always say, if a man got sex, then he won, really. A woman don't get no value out of a sexual encounter besides
Your value decreases.
Pleasurable experience, if that. And then y'all be complaining all the time about y'all faking orgasms and stuff like that. So why even put yourself, get the body, don't even get the orgasm. And now when you get married, you bump into Tim at the fucking mall and he looking at you and your boyfriend all weird and shit. You don't need that, you know, especially if not marriage quality. But I think, all right, I was talking to this young lady and she was saying how she not really looking for marriage as a young lady, right? Which most young women say, I'm not looking for marriage. That's what y'all say. But y'all be the same women when y'all 32 to then be looking for marriage.
But the whole time was looking for marriage.
But why not do it when you was 22?
Because no, it's more so having fun and hanging out. But women just don't want to admit that. Want to go to Miami, want to go to Cabo, wherever, Punta Cana, wherever the places are now, and have fun.
Yeah.
It's not so much about settling down with one man until you start seeing all your friends start getting married and having kids.
Now you want to do that. I would say if you was a young person and if you could see yourself in your 30s getting married, then start doing the things now. Because when you get older, it's going to be hell. Men, how do a man prepare to get married? He work and get his money together and invest properly and learn how to make passive income streams and residual income and compound interest and things like that, and figure out how to manifest 6 to 7 figures, because that's what you need in America to do regular stuff. If you're a man, try to have at least 10 to 15 or 20 to $25,000. That's just up that you don't gotta think about and possibly start dealing with a woman, because a woman not gonna really take you seriously with nothing to offer. And young men have a hard time in relationships because they don't have no resources, and it's not the woman's fault why you don't have resources. That's your own damn fault. So you can move on. Living your truth and not needing a cosigner. That's not really a question. I guess that's a topic.
Yeah.
How do you live your truth? What does that mean to you?
Being authentic to myself. And what that means is figuring out who I am without someone telling me, or without what someone told me who I am. So understanding who I am, understanding what I am without any outside influence. And with that, I won't need a cosigner.
So, like, what if you had friends? Like, that's really the crux of that argument. Like, it's always, it's just like, to me, it's like this person either where they don't understand how their actions affect other people, so it's just like, I'm living my truth, but it's always scathing to other people. I don't know why. And then some people do it and just kind of scathe. But for me, my truth is not like outside of the norm. Like, my truth is like moral or like just regular shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. I think it's a law to the world. I think it's like a God or an authority to life. And I could be wrong, but I think like living your truth can also be like living a lie a lot of times, especially if ain't nobody checking you or nobody like correcting you a lot of times, because it's just like,
because your truth could be some bullshit.
Yeah, and it could be hurtful and it could be unnecessary, and it's just like some new age shit that people be saying to get out of their responsibilities and stuff. And it's like, no. I mean, I guess I just think consciousness done really spoiled the mind.
It's become a scapegoat for
fuckery,
emotional inaccountability, and just inaccountability in general. the scapegoat.
It's real nasty out here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfuckers just living their truth, I guess.
On some bullshit.
Some bullshit. This is the question I really want to talk about. Being, not saying that we have an open or poly relationship, but it's a conversation that we talk about. I think a lot of people get it fucked up, like when they look at us or relationships in general as they being like this poly thing, and we really don't know much about poly for real, like real talk, like in real life, you know.
About the term, because I think everything is a term.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. About the term that was given to it.
The lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I don't think that poly is real because people outside of a relationship is not about it enough to enter a relationship like that. Like, I don't think like that's, I think relationship is really just guarded and separate things, that if you go and say that you poly or some shit like that, then how are you relegating energy? How do you keep negative energy out, right? Like, for our life and our flow, take a lot to balance our energy. So to add in another person, that's a lot. Like, that's a major shift in energy, like ancestors, like everything. Like, to really be in a relationship with somebody, like, is that doable to you? Like, is that feasible? Or is it just more or less like a term or shit to just talk about?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like a term, it's something that people talk about. And I think that it's a new age lifestyle that gives people permission to sleep around.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and you could talk about poly in a sense of community,
Mm-hmm.
but you can just start a community. You don't need to be polygamous.
Need to be poly to start a community.
Yeah, so it's like, just from the understanding that I gather from it, is just a term for people to hoe around.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's why I'm like, why would I be poly just to be a hoe when I can be single and be a hoe?
Yeah, and that's like,
my thought. Anyways.
It's like, you want to have more than one partner. That's cool. You don't necessarily have to be in a relationship with that person, because as we get older and life goes on, shit changes. Mm-hmm. Dynamics change, people change, sicknesses come, illnesses come, whatever comes. Yeah. So it's like,
I ain't never seen no old ass triad in my life. Mary Jane, Julianne, and Cletus. Never seen them come together at bingo. Never in my life. A day in my life, I've never seen no shit like that.
And it's like, it sounds good.
It sounds good in the short term.
Yeah, but it's like, if you're really looking for a long term, then
solution.
Yeah, it's building a community and not building a community off romantic relationships.
Yeah, because that shit, I'm like, imagine you trying to build a community over emotions and feelings, and people gonna get mad eventually. And then what you gonna do, break up the community? Like, that community, that's not no real thing, right? That's just some shit to say, some shit to process. But when it come to like poly relationships, it's one thing. I don't know, it would be like, if y'all created that poly relationship from the inception and y'all was talking about it, But generally, you will have a couple and then a unicorn. And that unicorn is just generally a woman who wants to be in a relationship. But see, wanting to be in a relationship and getting down to the nitty gritty of a relationship
Sustaining a relationship
is not desirable. It's not something that I would imagine a woman to be sitting back like, I really want to have shadow work and I really want to deal with my trauma and my darkness throughout this relationship and point out the times where I was projecting and, you know, get caught on my bullshit and then just really just be constantly caught on my bullshit and readjust and dissolve my ego and just really just not have no ego and just be one with some fucking a couple that's already established. No, nobody's fantasizing about that. They fantasizing about their own damn man. So when you having a polygamous relationship and you invite a woman in your relationship, she ain't there for the polygamy, man. She there for the goddamn man. Now, the other way around, then you got two bisexual dudes with a masculine dominant woman. And it's bisexual men out here. Some of y'all got boyfriends that's bisexual. You just don't know it. So that could work out. But see, women get real cringy when you start talking like that though. But when it comes to like, you know, two women, it's like, oh, fantasy world. But the real shit is getting all of the bisexual dudes that got a boyfriend and a girlfriend and showing up with the two dudes in the women triad. That's the real polygamy out here. That's the real community building. Now you got two men to build something. Y'all want to do that because that don't fit the ideal sexual fantasy that you've been pondering on. You don't imagine your boyfriend to be bisexual, but some of y'all boyfriend, they out here, so some of y'all just gonna have to bite that bullet. But that's why poly is bullshit, right? Because you start talking about the real open relationship. Like now you wanna, no, I don't like that. That's the rule. Like you're going against the rules. Like it ain't open, it ain't poly. So.
It all sounds nice, and it's like when you exploring, it can be all fun and games or whatever. But at the end of the day,
Oh, you good?
excuse me, it takes a different kind of relationship to succeed monogamously. Is that a word?
It take a different type of relationship to what?
To succeed monogamously.
Like what?
Like for me and you to go together in this life, just me and you. And not be like, oh, well, let's try this, let's try that. And it's like, we had to kind of dibble and dabble to get there. But it's still like, successfully, it's like it takes another sort of, I guess, a mission you can say to self when you commit to one person per se.
Yeah, because don't nobody really do that shit, really. It's like, I mean, like it's a lot of manipulation in relationships to whereas that's the normal relationship tactic. That's why, like, if you argue with your boyfriend, then you manipulating him. Because you trying to convert your negative energy into his life. How you feel, you want him to feel for you. And since he don't feel that way,
You get upset.
you're upset. That's manipulation. But if that's the normal way of love, then a man is going to leave that situation Because nobody gonna want to be manipulated. I don't care. We got 5 kids together and been together 10 years. You manipulated me. You tricking me out of my reality. I'm gonna have to leave, right? So my reality is all I have. So call me what you want. Dudes will be deadbeat, whatever.
He just chose not to.
But I'm not about to deal with your ass at the end of the day, because it's not positive experience. But polygamy is not the solution for a toxic ass relationship, because that's all my biggest fear, because we do so much shadow work and we communicate so much that a woman might come into this relationship like, well, I want to be with y'all because y'all got to figure it out. And it's like, you would only come into a boiling cauldron of goddamn kale. Like,
or know how to handle it. But that's kind of what I think, like, with your story time situation. I think that's what happened too, along with Baron. But I think, like, even if you put your toe in, it's like, if you ain't been doing the work thus far, then you're gonna be in boiling water. You're gonna jump out.
Oh yeah, like, as much work as we did, you might think that we on bullshit, and so, like, you think like, oh, they really ain't about that life, or he really ain't about that life, and it's just like, it's like you touching a fire. Like, I'm gonna burn the fuck out of you. Like, if you ain't trying to be a fire with me, then you gonna get burnt. And if you ain't trying to be a fire with us, you gonna get burnt. But people try to walk into the fire like, I ain't even know it was that hot. And it's like, it is no secrets. It is no lies. It is no projections. You can't come into a relationship, well, like, I was just trying to build a relationship up with you, Kyrie. And it's like, well, I'm married, I got 4 kids, so how does that look? Like, where do you think that, like, how do I create time for you, So it's unrealistic a lot of times with women. So it's like, the times that I did spend with people, it'd be out of my own time, my time for myself, you feel me? But that's still not me. You still not getting to know me. You still not getting closer to me, because I'm married with children and that's who I am. But that's not the fantasy version that she was looking for. She was looking for Mac Daddy Supreme, and I'm just not.
On a white horse, save her.
But that's what
a lot of women have a fantasy of you about, and not even just
I'm just saying,
but
that's just a poly fantasy where
men who carry your energy, like, white horse, pick them up, save them, and yeah, and it's like, I'm realizing that a lot of entities want to come in between, like, relationship like ours, just because. It's like they feed off of that shit. And
it's called
like,
a mistress.
Yeah, and it's like, kind of makes me wonder if that's what poly relationships are. Like,
Had they become glorified mistress?
Had they become its own entity?
Yeah, it has to be, because think about, like, the people in Atlanta who, like, think about, like, the Facebook groups and shit like that. It is an entity. It's a thought form. It's a mindset. It's a social club. It's a ideology that is not real. It don't exist. It's not tangible. It's not, because it's like, only way it's real is if you look at our life and you sync up with our life. What y'all doing? Y'all with the kids? Y'all folding clothes? I'm about to come over there and help y'all fold clothes. What y'all doing? Play Ring Around the Rosie with the kids? Y'all going to the park with the kids? I'm about to come down to the kids. What y'all at the river with the kids? I'm about to come down there to the river with y'all, the kids. Y'all riding up and down Woodward? I'm about to come right up and down wood wherever y'all. I'm gonna integrate and sync with everything that y'all do. I'm not gonna judge it. I'm not gonna try to figure it out. I'm just trying to be one and trying to do everything that y'all do. No, motherfuckers gonna want to change you, gonna want to judge you, gonna want to compare you, gonna want to put you up, put you down, and literally, a relationship that's successful. Like, I'm not saying that we don't need help, but a chick that's talking to me when I'm at work or whatever, that's not helping you. That's not helping the boys. That's not helping me. I mean, it's just giving me a pretty face to look at and talk to at the end of the day.
But
that's good.
And
I
that's the whole
but
thing too. Is like it's never about the community. It's more so about the relationship you can provide them.
yeah,
And that's cool or whatever.
but it's not realistic. I'm not that type of person, so it's like, I mean, I know when people talk about poly and all of that, I can understand what they talking about because I could do that.
Like what you mean?
I could have chicks that I'm smashing and acting like they my wife and y'all sister wives. I could do that, but not a smasher. And I'm really interested in, like, I want not community, but I'm interested in the truth. And so halfway decent chicks that's, playing pussy games ain't the truth to me. It's just, you look halfway decent and I'm slightly aroused and that's it. Like, that's the max.
No
like,
more than that moment.
That's it. Like, I don't know. Like, that's it. Like, and generally what I feel is that they want me to be halfway highly aroused and just kind of work my way into they penny draws, and then now she a sister wife. That's how they think it worked. And it's like, we got 4 kids that run up and down, and I'm not saying that to be attractive. I'm saying that it's probably some of the most unattractive shit you ever going to experience. When one kid is crying, the other kid is crying, the 2 other kids is manipulating the situation in the background to set up a future cry.
The cat is meowing. The dog's throwing up.
The cat meowing to a point where
you think it's a child crying.
she literally trying to get your attention and get you to do something specific, so you can't let that go. But no, it's nothing really desirable. It's just a life that, I don't know. I think other people might be successful in having an open and poly relationship, but I'm just too spiritual for that shit.
I think that's what it really comes down to, because it's like the deeper we've gotten into our spiritual journey, the
less threesomes we had.
That hey, look, I've been trying, okay? But they out here too crazy.
Saying, the deeper, I'm just laying
they
out
out
the
here
facts.
too crazy, man.
I'm just laying off the facts. The more spiritual we got, the less threesomes.
The more
when we first got together, it was threesomes all the time. We get more woke, and then we should start drying up. I don't know.
But no, it's just like starting to see more, like the deeper we got, and it's like, yeah, there was a time where it was polygamy, but now it's more so like, nah, like, what is myself talking about? Like, in this relationship, what is my accountability looking like in this relationship?
Yeah, because the
And
relationship not gonna solve no problem.
mm-mm.
Or think like you get a relationship, it don't solve a problem, so you look for another relationship that's going to solve a problem, and then what you gonna do after you polygamous? You gonna be, you know,
Yep.
just like what's his name, Nature Boy. He got arrested. I don't know if he did anything wrong, but just having that whole community and all of that type of energy, young Pharaoh community and all of that, and I just be thinking like, if you the type of dude that can get ass and shit like that, that don't mean you should get ass like that. Like,
Like it's key for you not to get
yeah,
it.
it's kind of like your sign to just get one girl, like,
Because it's gonna be your downfall if you can just.
cause they don't like when they I don't know. Love is very intentional. Love don't hide, and women would pick your brains down to the nitty gritty and never choose to love you, right? So you gotta be careful. Like if you in a poly relationship, like you could be like you and your wife, and you invite like this girl into your relationship, and she just observing your shit the whole time. She ain't trying to be an integral part or trying to unionize with you. When the shit hit the fan, she gonna leave, and you done invested resources, time, and energy. So I don't know. I guess we kind of talked about that.
It ain't like it's a lot you can say, but it ain't too much really that you can say on it, because at the end of the day, people still gonna be like, oh, well,
People
I'm
still
poly.
gonna be poly and all of that.
And people still gonna find themselves in a fucked up situation because they not honoring the ancestral energy before them. But
Right, because ain't nobody made a baby off of three. A man, and a woman. Like, it's only been a man and a woman for which our ancestral line falls down. So that says something towards partnering up. But, to each his own. There ain't no judgment. I'm just saying, as much like, if you the type of woman and you want your own man, then don't go into poly. But if you the type of woman who wants to be a unicorn or wants to show up in a polygamous relationship, then you have to communicate that. You have to be bold. You have to be strong in that stance, because ain't no couples going to just be knocking at your door like, hey, sis, you look kind of like a unicorn, and me and my wife was just passing by, so let's try this threesome thing out. Like, I don't know, it's a tricky, tough situation, because you might be interested in a triad, and the wives don't play about their husbands, so that's another level of it being a hard road to cross. So
like I know when we first started off, I just wasn't mentally mature enough, like, to even handle. I thought I was, and it's like you can think, but once you get down to the action of it, and you actually like reflect and be like, oh dang, like it ain't as all pretty as Instagram makes it look. Because that's another thing. I think that's where probably comes from, is social media.
Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook, MySpace, go back further, like all of that shit. Because, like, growing up, I never heard anybody say that they was fucking poly.
Yeah, social media give you all of your ideas, and from there you just be grasping at straws and shit a lot of times, just trying shit out, figuring shit out. But it don't necessarily have to be like that, honestly. Like I was saying earlier, relationships, attracting a relationship is very much of a spiritual process. So I don't know, it's such a spiritual process that I don't know. No, but it's like a relationship is so spiritual that it's not nothing that you could ever think about. Not something you could ever really contrive and wish for, because you just gotta really trust your higher self. You gotta really put your spirit shoes on and start walking in your light and walking in your purpose and doing spiritual work and really exercising your spiritual muscles by doing experiments and tapping into whatever energies you need to tap into, but unequivocally standing in that love energy, you start to magnetize it and bring it closer, man. It could be anybody, you know. And anybody, when you meet them, you might just say that thing or do that thing, and you done met your wife, you done met your husband. So it's like, don't not imagine that you don't need spiritual help to manifest a significant other. And don't make it harder on yourself by just not doing the work necessary to be your best self, because I think one of the greatest detriments to relationships is that we don't get our partners don't get our best version of ourselves, you know. But if you are giving the best version of yourself, your partner giving the best version of themselves, then you got a healthy and successful relationship. But knowing how to build yourself up is really the key. Knowing how to strengthen your spiritual muscles up is really the key, because, you know, it's easy to attract, you know, it's easy to maintain and sustain a relationship. Like what I'm trying to say is that it's like, I manifest so many people in my life. Like, I'm just trying to tell y'all something. Like, I could just, like, real ass people that really fuck with me. And it's like, it's because I'm very much tuned and tapped into my spirit. Like, people and love is a spiritual endeavor for me. And I know, like, the negative feelings and emotions that people have and carry is not related to the love that could happen if you choose that, you know. Love is a choice. It's not something that's going to happen like to you or for you. It's something that you decide, that you're going to attract, that you're going to embody, that you're going to personify, that you're going to stand in. And it can be like that, you know. But it could also be you feeling bad about yourself or downing yourself or not imagining yourself to really be in the fire of a relationship to sustain it and to grow it. Because you want a nigga with money, or you want a person like that, or you want a person like this, and it's just like, that's going to be your downfall for real, judging a nigga because he ain't this or that, but you done fucked him and shit like that. Like, that's going to be your downfall. But if you say, I embody love, I embody attraction, I embody all there is in reference to just everything about divine love and light, and you'll begin to attract that, you know. It's simple, but I understand that people would make it hard. So
Yeah, because everybody want to be the victim. Everybody want to be the exception to the rule, that their situation is worse than the next person's situation. So, of course, everybody can't choose love, because
It's inner. It don't like ain't nothing. I never felt like a person made me love. Like it was just something that was within me. And when I'm ever dealing with people, that's why I'm always frustrated. That's why I don't give a fuck. That's why I just pay attention to myself, because I can't make a person do shit or not do shit. If they go in love, it's going to be something within them that makes them love me. Because they nobody never did nothing to make me love them. I'm loving you and everybody else because it's benefiting me. But it ain't like I'm getting that same love in return. It's not like, because if that was the case, I would never love. That's the setup. That's the whole point. Like, you never get what you want. But that shouldn't be the reason to stop you from exuding the maximum amount of love. Because money involved, legacy involved, birthrights, everything involved about how much love energy you got for yourself and others. So, we about to end this podcast, man. Hope y'all enjoyed it. It's some late night edition shit. It's about 12. It's Thursday now. We done crossed over to a new dimension called Thursday. Wednesday was... It'll never be 420, 2022 ever again. Now we in 421. I had a girl who was born on 420. Now I had another one that was born on 422. I don't like these days, man. These days can go to hell. 420, 421, 422. I'll be in a better mood April 23rd. Okay? There's something about chicks that was born April 20th and April 22nd. And really just like, you know that song, Why You Always Lying? That's what I think about when I think about these days and Tauruses. Anyways, man, one thing's for sure and two things for certain. I'm not doing no Taurus. Nothing. Won't even get you to detail my car. No, not doing it. You probably gonna lie about the price. $500 to detail. No. Taurus shit. Why you always lying? So
I feel like you almost had a Taurus though.
never.
She wasn't a Taurus?
Never. My kids don't even be Tauruses. They either be Cancer, Gemini, or Leo. This Taurus energy is like...
You got a Virgo.
Huh?
So you got a Virgo.
Virgo. John, yeah. Don't do that. Be a bull.